Our family's historical connection to Gregg County is through my mother, Lois Killingsworth Jackson. She met my father after he moved to Longview from Alabama in 1930, seeking work in the new East Texas oil field. After marrying in 1933, he established a fuel oil business in Gladewater, my birthplace. He returned to Longview, where Mom and Dad lived the remainder of their lives. Dad became an independent oil operator, working throughout Mississippi, Louisiana, New Mexico, and Texas. He had several new oil discoveries in Wood County and Cass and Marion counties. Dad and Mom were active Christians, members of First Baptist Church Longview. They established the first married young couple Sunday school group. When they built their dream home in 1953, they determined that the children should have a part in the building of the homestead. They planned a way, put in the yard as a family. The 18-wheeler loaded with grass arrived, and we were shown how to cut the grass into strips, plant in trenches, and stripe it across the front and backyard down to the lake. Little did we know that it would be a 3-day project, working sunup to sundown. Our parents were working right beside us, though. We learned the meaning of earning an interest through sweat equity. Dad was energetic, faithful, trustworthy, and kind, a living example for his family and an admired business partner. He died at the age of 59 from complications of a stroke.
If your heart is cold, my fire cannot warm you. This quote was painted over the fireplace in the kitchen of the Jackson home. These words, more than the great size and beauty of the home, more than the dumbwaiter or the elevator, made it a special place because they spoke from the heart of Aunt Lois and Uncle Jack to all who shared this home with them. After my father, Lewis Henderson, was killed in a car wreck in West Texas, Aunt Lois and Uncle Jack insisted that Mother and I move in with them. Lois landscaped the yard with bright beds of azaleas, daffodils, bride's wreath, and dogwood trees. Every Thanksgiving, there would be a breakfast of quail and dove with biscuits and gravy served after the Thanksgiving service. Most of all, though, I remember the love that we all shared here, whether it was reading the Bible at the breakfast table or discussing national or local concerns. Our hearts were warmed by the kitchen fireplace as we sat around the Lazy Susan table by the fireside with family and friends.
They both were very creative people, and yet they were practical people too. Whether it be on a civic project or on a church project or on a home project, they knew how to mix the practical and the creative together. When she came into the city offices in '69, felt that they needed to think about the visual as much as they needed to think about the practical side of doing streets. She also felt that if the policemen were going to be defending the city, that they needed to think about the practical things. And so one of the first things she did when she came into the city offices was to insist on giving all of the staff and the policemen and the firemen raises. And when she died, city offices closed, the firemen and the policemen lined the street all the way to the cemetery in tribute for their practical decision. And they both felt that you needed to treat people the way that you wanted to be treated yourself. Of course, that's the golden rule.
Our mother and dad were the most wonderful parents that anyone could have. They were always there for us and taught us to the very best that we could do in everything that we did, whether it be at the church or at school or in our professional life. She was named Mother of the Year for the state of Texas in 1972. A funny memory of my father, Daddy always wore a coat and tie. I can still remember him driving up mid-afternoon, getting out of his car, loosening his tie, and asking if I wanted to go fishing. And there were two of us would be sitting in his suit and tie, baiting our hooks, sitting on the pier, casting our lines. Spending quality time with his family was very important. Mom and Dad taught us the value of strong work ethics. which eventually in all things we're involved in. And though when I was young, I didn't understand it and didn't like it that much, certainly it did make life easier for me later on in life. In '72, a 65-acre tract of land was donated to the city of Longview, and the city park was constructed and named in honor of our mother for her love of the park and the children. Her great-grandchildren and so many children will continue to enjoy Lois Jackson Park, as our children refer to Honey's Park, as it was fondly referred to her as Honey.